BC homeowners can now get a forgivable loan up to $40,000 to renovate their home to add rental stock to the BC housing market. Over 3,000 lucky property owners from across British Columbia are going to be able to take advantage of British Columbia's new program. In today's video, we're going to cover exactly how this program works, who is eligible for this program. We're going to ask some pretty serious questions about this initiative that deserve being answered, and I'm also going to let you know if you're a property owner or anybody that pays tax in British Columbia about why you might be incredibly offended by this new plan. You're going to want to hang around till the end because I got a question that I want you to participate in and answer in the comments section below. So if that all sounds good, let's jump into it. Hey, it's Darren here. If you're thinking of moving to Surrey, White Rock, or any of the surrounding suburbs, subscribe below so you can be the first to learn about the market and the areas. And like so many others, we've helped in the process of buying or selling a home. If you need help in the process, whether it's today or 6 months from now, use the link in the description to book a time to speak with me. We'll help you make sure that your move is the absolute best that it could ever be. So let's jump into the secondary suite incentive plan. Rolled out, albeit a little bit quietly, didn't make a really big splash in the news, but this is a pretty significant initiative by the BC government. This is a 3-year pilot program with approximately 3,000 households in total, or about 1,000 a year until the annual funding gets used up, that are going to be eligible to add a secondary suite to their existing property. Called the SSIP, effectively the SSIP will be a 3-year pilot program to provide conditional financial assistance to help homeowners construct long-term affordable rental units, including a secondary suite and or ADUs, which are attached or detached from the unit that the homeowner resides in. Qualified homeowners would be eligible for a forgivable loan covering 50% of the construction costs for installing a new secondary suite or ADU up to $40,000. $40,000, that is considerable money. And if you're doing the math at home, that means you could spend up to $80,000 adding a secondary dwelling to your property and have half of it, or $40,000, be completely forgivable. The loan will be available in the form of costs related to the owner after construction is complete and occupancy on the unit is achieved. And this loan, well, it'll only be forgiven if the homeowner and the property both meet very specific conditions. The biggest condition of which is renting the property out at below market rates or below market rental rates. And this has to be for a period of a minimum of at least 5 years. Applications are being taken on a first come, first served basis, and the government boasts that they've already got 5,000 people that are subscribing to updates from the government on this new initiative. And there's a really cool handy dandy checklist available on their website for you to see if you're eligible. This program has a lot of good to it. This is quite exciting because it is going to add approximately 3,000 new rental units at below market rental rates to the market, making it more affordable for people to live and play in our communities. Before I jump into some of the concerns and questions that need to be asked about this new initiative, well, let me give you an idea if you might be eligible or not for this program. First of all, you have to be an owner of the property and a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. That's pretty straightforward, but it also needs to be in your principal residence. So anybody out there that has a house that they're renting out and they have the opportunity to put in a secondary suite, unless you're living there as your principal residence, this doesn't work for you. The people living in the home that are contributing to the mortgage also have to have a gross annual income of less than $209,420. This is an annual amount, and they would refer to last year's taxes to see if that's how much you brought home or less to be eligible. The property, well, it has to be in an approved municipality, and there is a long list of the approved municipalities on the website for this initiative, which I will leave below in the description. You have to have a BC assessment value of under $2.15 million as of 2024. And one of the pieces that I'm going to touch on a little bit later in this video is this must be considered a legal suite. This is a legal self-contained suite with a building permit issued at least as of April 1st, 2023 or after. And you would eventually need to get an occupancy permit for that suite as well. And I know what you're thinking. If you're someone that has an existing suite and you're considering upgrading it, well, unfortunately, upgrading or improving an existing suite does not count towards this initiative.
Hey, real quick, I don't run any ads on my videos, intentionally anyways, and put in about 8 hours every week trying to bring you the very best content there is while keeping it somewhat entertaining too. The only ask that I have is that you help me spread the word on my videos so we can help more home buyers and sellers be wildly successful with real estate. Get it right the first time and dodge all the ways that people typically get burned when they buy or sell a home. Now, the only way that we can do that is if you give this video just a simple like to help other people like you find the content. That's the only thing we ask you to do. Don't even worry about subscribing. It will take you about 3 seconds and it would mean the absolute world to me, but more importantly, it may change the world for someone else. Thanks for clicking the like button, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
So what can you include in this loan? Like, what is part of what you are able to so-called write off and get this forgivable loan? What are you allowed to put it towards? Costs you can include in the loan are architectural and design fees, structural modifications, electrical work, fixtures, appliances, and only 50% of the actual cost to a maximum of $2,500, building and trade permit fees, cost to obtain certificates, drawings, and specifications directly related to eligible scope of work, materials related to the approved construction, contractor labor, not including any work done by the applicant or any member of the household, and PST and GST. Some costs are not eligible, however. These include extensions, conversions, repair or replacement of items for the homeowners, labor costs for work completed by the homeowner or any member of the household, and landscaping costs. So you can obviously include a lot of things in this. This is going to really help anybody that's ever considered adding a secondary suite to their property as long as they're eligible. So how does the program work and how do you get involved in it? Well, the rebate amount and BC Housing's legal costs of $2,000 will be registered on the property's title for at least 5 years. And this will be registered as a forgivable loan. The forgivable loan, inclusive of BC Housing's legal costs, will be forgiven up to 20% per year. And if you're doing the math at home, that's about $8,400 per year plus any accrued interest up to the maximum $40,000 over 5 years. Now, during this 5 years, the property has to continue to be a principal residence for the owner. And the property also has to be rented out for the below market rental rates as set out by BC Housing and CMHC. The suite must be rented for at least 10 months in the preceding year and the tenancy under an agreement that complies with the Residential Tenancy Act on a month-to-month or a minimum 1-year fixed tenancy basis. And if you're thinking what a lot of you might be thinking, the tenant also cannot be an immediate family member. So far in this video, I'm curious what you think of this program. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Because I don't want to sway you with my opinion, which is coming next. But consider leaving a comment below and let me know what you think this is going to do to the housing stock. And get ready for it, because I'm going to let you know some of the challenges and some of the problems I see with this and some of the reasons that anybody in British Columbia that pays taxes might be completely offended by this proposal. Actually, it's not even a proposal. It's happening. It's an initiative. So let's jump into it. Well, one of the things I want to start with is this may seem like a 5-year plan for anybody that may be eligible to take advantage of this program. But I want to caution you that it isn't necessarily a 5-year plan at renting out below market rates, because when you become a landlord, you are completely subject to that of the Residential Tenancy Act. So without getting completely into the details of how that act works, all I want you to know is that you can only really remove a tenant in British Columbia for 2 reasons. Owner occupancy, meaning you and anybody in your household is looking to take over the space in the home where the secondary suite is, or you are doing a significant renovation, so significant that nobody could live in the property. And you're not going to want to try and skirt around those rules, because just introduced, the secondary unit must be vacant for at least 12 months before re-renting that home. Otherwise, the tenant who has been removed for that property could come back and hit you up as the landlord for up to 12 months of rent as a penalty. So you definitely want to play by the rules on this one. This means because you're subject to the Residential Tenancy Act, that below market rent would effectively, with that tenant, unless they are removed, continue on indefinitely, and you would only be allowed to raise the rent by the government mandated increases each and every year. So you might have a tenant that is paying below market rent for quite a long time. So just be aware of that. The second kicker in this is it's stated that the secondary unit must be considered legal. This means you need not only to have a building permit to make sure that it is okay to construct the suite, but you also must achieve something called a final occupancy on the property, where the city has come in and basically checked to make sure it's done properly and it is safe to occupy. One of the main differences between a legal suite and an unauthorized suite really is the safety requirements of such. And to me, this really begs the question that there is many unauthorized suites all across British Columbia, but especially here in Surrey and in the Lower Mainland, where this is simply adding legal suites to the market for rent, which is definitely a good thing, but it is not addressing all of the safety issues with all of the unauthorized suites that the cities are completely aware of and making sure that they are safe for the occupants living in them. This kind of makes me think that they are less worried about the safety of these unauthorized suites and more worried about adding more safer units to the market. But I don't want to suggest that necessarily because that's probably not completely fair. In the end, they are adding safer units to the rental stock, which is a good thing. With it having to be legal and having to get a final occupancy, we also need to touch on the fact that this is going to add a lot of red tape in terms of municipal fees and time to the end process, which a lot of that money is going to end up going towards and it's going to eat up a fair chunk of it. One of the other interesting things that I want to note is that a lot of the smaller municipalities in the list of how they're calculating what these lower than market rents must be are tied in with cities like Vancouver. So let me give you an example. It shows that the market rate for a 1-bedroom or a bachelor must be under $1,640. A 2-bedroom must be under $2,100 and a 3-bedroom must be under $2,200. Now, these numbers apply not only to the city of Vancouver, but also much less expensive municipalities that are contained in the Lower Mainland, like Surrey as an example. If you've been a watcher of our channel for any amount of time, you will know that on Zumper, which is a website we relate to very often, the average rental amount for a 2-bedroom in the city of Vancouver is roughly about $3,800. That same average 2-bedroom rental in the city of Surrey is roughly about $2,400. This means that the people of Vancouver, well, if you're trying to add rental stock in that particular area, they are not being compensated nearly enough in this formula, whereas the people in the city of Surrey are only taking a small portion less than what they normally may have got and are much more advantaged in this particular program than people that might be in the downtown core as an example. Here's the one last thing I wanted to bring to your attention, and this is a taxpayer, may offend you slightly, but I'm curious, and I'm going to ask for your opinion on this in the comments. It's great that there's going to be more rental stock added to the market, and it's great that there's going to be the opportunity for some people to have a lower than market rate rental that they and their family can call home. But here's my slight level of offense with not only being a homeowner, but also being a taxpayer in British Columbia. Since when did it become your responsibility as a taxpayer to add a capital asset to someone else's property, someone else who owns a property, especially if you're someone that is renting a property? What do I mean by this? Well, while there is going to be a new rental unit that is going to be occupied by someone with below market rent, that below market rent is still helping to go towards paying the mortgage of that particular homeowner who is able to take advantage of this program. Not only that, but don't forget about the $40,000 forgivable loan, which is really your tax dollars at work. This means that you as a taxpayer have now not only helped pay someone else's mortgage, but you have also helped improve their property. So in 5 years or more, when they go to sell that, they now have an increased capital asset and they're going to sell their home for significantly more money because you've helped invest in their property. This also means that the average person does not get to take advantage of this program. If you are a renter, you do not get any benefit in this unless you are going to qualify to live in one of these properties. Or if you are a strata owner, if you live in a condominium or you live in a townhome, or even if you're not a strata owner, you're a homeowner, you own a detached home, but the style or structure of your property does not allow for a secondary suite, you do not get to benefit from this whatsoever. Now, my question is to you, and what I'd like you to leave in the comments below is, number one, what do you think of this program? Initially, do you like it? Do you not like it? And if that is the case one way or the other, I want to know why. What I'd also like to know from you is if you think the secondary suites being added to the market up to about 3,000 as the government suggested, will this actually lead to getting that amount of new rental suites on the market? And lastly, as a taxpayer or a homeowner in the province of British Columbia, How do you feel about helping pay for someone else's mortgage as well as adding to their property so when they sell, they have an increased capital asset that you do not get to take advantage of? Leave your comment below. I am ever curious as to what you think about this new proposal, and we will definitely look forward to seeing you on the next video because you subscribed, right?
That's right.
We'll see you next time. Cheers.